Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. For most of human history, understanding what's happening inside our bodies meant breaking the skin, drawing blood, taking tissue samples. These invasive procedures have been the cornerstone of medicine. They save lives, but they can be painful, carry risks, and only give us a single snapshot of our health at one specific moment. But what if we could read our body like an open book, without ever making a cut? What if our largest organ, the skin, could become a constant, live-streaming window into our inner health? This isn't science fiction. This is the reality of non-invasive diagnostics, a revolutionary field that is teaching us to listen to the body's subtlest signals right through the skin. This new era of healthcare uses advanced technology to analyze our bodies without a single needle or incision. From powerful imaging that peers deep beneath the skin to smart sensors on our wrists that track us 24/7, non-invasive tech is making healthcare safer, faster, and far more personal. This is about more than just comfort. It's about unlocking a continuous river of real-time data that can spot diseases earlier, make treatments more effective, and empower us to take a truly proactive approach to our own well-being. The most visible and widely adopted form of this revolution is probably on your wrist right now. Wearable sensors, like smartwatches and fitness trackers, have transformed from simple step counters into sophisticated health monitoring platforms. They are packed with sensors that provide a continuous stream of data about our physiological state. Let's look under the hood. Many of these devices use optical sensors, specifically a technology called photoplethysmography, or PPG. It sounds complex, but the principle is simple. The sensor shines light, usually green, onto your skin and measures how much of it bounces back. When your heart beats, it pushes a pulse of blood through your arteries, causing them to expand slightly. This tiny change in blood volume affects how much light is absorbed. By tracking these fluctuations in reflected light, the sensor can calculate your heart rate with remarkable accuracy. Why green light? Because it's strongly absorbed by hemoglobin in your blood, making these subtle changes easier to detect. These same optical sensors can also measure your blood oxygen saturation, or SpO2. This is done by using a combination of red and infrared light. The color of your blood actually changes depending on its oxygen level. Oxygen-rich blood absorbs more infrared light, while blood with less oxygen absorbs more red light. By shining both types of light and measuring the ratio of what's reflected, the device can estimate the percentage of oxygen in your blood. And the technology is constantly evolving. Researchers are now exploring how to analyze the nuances of that PPG light wave to measure other vital signs, like your breathing rate and even blood pressure, all from that same simple sensor on your wrist. But light is just one way to read the body. Another powerful source of information is your sweat. It's a rich biochemical cocktail, filled with biomarkers that reveal a surprising amount about your health. To decode this information, scientists have developed wearable electrochemical sensors, often in the form of flexible skin patches or woven into smart textiles. These sensors have tiny electrodes coated with enzymes or other materials that react with specific biomarkers in your sweat, generating a measurable electrical signal. One of the most promising applications is glucose monitoring for individuals with diabetes. Instead of painful finger pricks, a sweat sensor could provide continuous, non-invasive glucose readings. These sensors use an enzyme called glucose oxidase, which reacts with glucose in sweat. The key challenge, which researchers are actively working on, is establishing a perfectly reliable correlation between glucose levels in sweat and in the blood. For athletes, these sensors are a game changer. A wearable sensor can track lactate, a biomarker produced during intense exercise that signals muscle fatigue. This allows athletes to optimize their training regimens and push their performance to the limit without overexertion. These sensors can also monitor electrolytes like sodium and potassium, which is critical for managing hydration, as well as the pH of your sweat, which can indicate various physiological conditions. Beyond the chemical and optical, wearables are also packed with physical sensors. Accelerometers and gyroscopes are the workhorses of fitness tracking. They monitor your movement and orientation in three-dimensional space, providing the data for everything from counting your steps and calories burned to analyzing your sleep patterns and even detecting if you've had a fall. Temperature sensors on wearables can monitor your skin temperature, giving insights into fever, inflammation, or changes in your metabolic rate. While wearables are fantastic for tracking our bodies in motion, another class of non-invasive technology provides a much deeper, more detailed look at the structure and composition of our skin. These advanced imaging and spectroscopy techniques are particularly vital in dermatology for the early detection of skin cancer. One of the most powerful tools is called Reflectance Confocal Microscopy, or RCM. Think of it as a virtual biopsy. Instead of cutting out a piece of tissue, RCM uses a low-power laser to illuminate a single point in the skin. The reflected light is captured to create a high-resolution, real-time image of the skin at a cellular level. It can peer down into the superficial dermis, allowing dermatologists to see individual cells and structures without ever breaking the skin. Studies have shown RCM is incredibly accurate in diagnosing melanoma and other skin cancers, significantly reducing the number of unnecessary surgical biopsies. Another amazing technique is optical coherence tomography, or OCTOBR. You can think of it as an ultrasound, but it uses light instead of sound waves. OCTOBR produces cross-sectional images of the skin, revealing its different layers, the epidermis, dermis, and even the tiny blood vessels within. This makes it an invaluable tool, not just for diagnosing skin cancers, but also for assessing inflammatory skin diseases and monitoring how well a treatment is working. Then there's Raman spectroscopy, a technique that acts like a molecular metal detector. It can identify the unique molecular fingerprint of a substance by analyzing how it scatters light. In medicine, researchers are exploring its use for measuring biomarkers through the skin, most notably glucose. The idea is to shine a laser on the skin and analyze the scattered light to detect the specific signature of glucose in the interstitial fluid. While it's still largely in the research phase for this application, Raman spectroscopy holds immense promise for a truly non-invasive continuous glucose monitor that doesn't even rely on sweat. Other techniques like diffuse reflectance spectroscopy analyze scattered light to measure skin pigments like melanin, while infrared thermography can detect abnormal heat patterns on the skin that might indicate a cancerous tumor, which often has higher metabolic activity. And it's not just sweat. Researchers are now looking at other skin secretions, particularly sebum, the oily substance that coats our skin. Sebum is packed with a diverse range of metabolites that can be influenced by our age, diet, and disease. Analysis of these skin lipids has already been linked to conditions like Parkinson's disease and diabetes, opening up a whole new avenue for non-invasive biomarker discovery. Now, you might be wondering, how do we make sense of all this information? From the 24/7 data stream of a smartwatch to the complex cellular images from a confocal microscope, the sheer volume of data is staggering. This is where artificial intelligence and machine learning come in. They are the essential brains behind the brawn of these sensors. In dermatology, for instance, AI is revolutionizing how medical images are analyzed. Deep learning models, specifically convolutional neural networks, can be trained on massive datasets of skin lesion images. They learn to recognize the incredibly subtle patterns, textures, and color variations that distinguish a benign mole from a malignant melanoma. Incredibly, studies have shown that these AI algorithms can achieve a diagnostic accuracy that is comparable to, and in some cases even better than, that of experienced dermatologists. AI is also critical for wearable devices. It acts as a sophisticated filter, cleaning up noise in the data, such as motion artifacts from when you're jogging, and translating raw sensor readings into meaningful health metrics. But it goes further. AI algorithms can analyze long-term trends in your personal data to predict health risks. For example, an AI could detect subtle changes in your gait that indicate an increased risk of falling, Or it could spot patterns in your heart rate variability that suggest a higher risk of future cardiovascular disease. Of course, AI in medicine isn't without its challenges. The black box nature of some models, where it's hard to know exactly how the AI reached its conclusion, is a valid concern for doctors. Algorithmic bias is another critical issue. If an AI is trained on data that isn't diverse, it may not be as accurate for underrepresented groups. The future lies in developing more transparent AI and ensuring that the data we use to train it is fair and representative for everyone. So, what's next on the horizon? The field is evolving at a breakneck pace. The next generation of wearables won't be something you put on. It will be something you wear as part of your everyday life. We're talking about smart textiles with electronic sensors and conductive fibers woven directly into the fabric of your clothes. Your t-shirt could become a health monitoring garment, continuously tracking your heart rate, respiration, and body temperature without you even thinking about it. Another exciting frontier is e-tattoos, ultra-thin, flexible electronic patches that adhere to the skin like a temporary tattoo. These could monitor muscle activity, track brain waves, or even be used to deliver medication through the skin. A major hurdle for all these tiny devices is power. Constantly charging them is a hassle. The future will depend on innovative energy harvesting solutions. A particularly promising area is enzymatic biofuel cells. These are tiny devices that can generate electricity directly from metabolites in your body fluids, like lactate in your sweat. Imagine a self-powered wearable that you never, ever have to charge. The future will also be about multimodal sensor fusion. This means combining data from multiple different sensors to get a more complete and accurate picture of your health. Your smart shirt might combine data from its optical heart rate sensor, its built-in accelerometer, and a temperature sensor to provide a far more comprehensive assessment of your cardiovascular health than any single sensor could alone. And perhaps the ultimate goal is a concept called theranostics, which combines diagnostics and therapeutics into a single closed-loop system. Imagine a smart microneedle patch that not only senses a biomarker indicating a problem, but also delivers a targeted dose of a drug in immediate response. This could lead to highly personalized and automated treatments for a wide range of conditions. Of course, the road to this future isn't without obstacles. Before these technologies become mainstream in clinics, they must prove their accuracy and reliability through rigorous testing. Data security and privacy are paramount when dealing with sensitive health information. The regulatory pathways for getting new medical devices approved can be long and expensive. And finally, we need to ensure these technologies are affordable and accessible to everyone, not just a privileged few, and that doctors are trained on how to integrate them into their practice. Non-invasive diagnostics are fundamentally changing our relationship with our own bodies. By giving us a continuous, comprehensive, and non-intrusive view of our health, they are empowering us to shift from a reactive model of medicine, waiting until we get sick, to a truly preventative and personalized one. The pace of innovation is relentless. We are heading toward a future where our bodies are seamlessly connected to the digital world, where medicine is less about intrusion and more about insight, and where our skin is no longer just a protective barrier, but a clear window to our inner health. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.